Good evening. Malacanang says President Bongbong Marcos is not open to dialogues regarding the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. In a briefing on Tuesday, June 17, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro responds to Senate President Cheese Escudero's statement. The Senate chief earlier said Malacanang doesn't need to intervene in the standoff between the House of Representatives and the Senate over the impeachment issue. Castro reiterates that the president will not interfere with the impeachment against Duterte.
Hindi po open ang Pangulo sa anumang dialogo patungkol sa impeachment trial or proceedings. Maliwanag ko pong sinabi na maaari lang po siyang makipagdialogo kung hindi na maganda ang sitwasyon patungkol sa mga issue sa bills, sa batas, but not with regard to the impeachment issues.
Malacanang has repeatedly emphasized that Marcos is not involved in the impeachment process against Duterte. Marcos himself has said the impeachment process should take its course, but the president has also mentioned he never wanted the impeachment against Duterte to happen in the first place. The House impeached Duterte in February after more than 200 lawmakers signed the impeachment complaint against her. She is accused of misusing public funds of the Office of the Vice President and Department of Education, among other crimes. Senate Minority Leader Koko Pimentel says President Bongbong Marcos' silence on the impeachment case of Vice President Sara Duterte is a welcome move. During the kapihan sa Senado forum on Tuesday, June 17, Pimentel emphasizes that the president does not have a role in the impeachment process since he is also an impeachable official. He cites the 1987 Constitution as a basis.
I'm glad the President is not commenting on the impeachment. Dapat hands-off ang Presidente sa impeachment. Hands-off. Pag tignan natin yung Article 11, there is no role of the President in impeachment proceedings. Bakit? Because the President himself or herself is impeachable. So dapat wala siyang role. Ito yung proceeding na pwedeng siya rin yung maging subject ng impeachment. So dapat wala siya talagang role.
Pero sir,
so ako sagot ko doon, walang role ang presidente, let us keep it that way.
Should Marcos comment on the impeachment trial of Duterte? Pimentel says it should not carry any weight for the Senate or judges. He adds that the president cannot also mediate between the House of Representatives and the Senate on the impeachment. He says it avoids setting a precedent, especially in the case of a future impeachment involving the presidency.
Huwag siya mamagitan kasi kunyari sa future, ang impeachment is concerning the president and then meron din deadlock ang House and Senate. Pwede din siya mamagitan about his or her own case. Hands off lang. Hands off ang presidente.
Marcos has repeatedly said he will not interfere with the impeachment process. He said it was best to leave the matter in the hands of the Senate, who will serve as judges in Duterte's case. Even so, the president has said before that he never wanted Duterte to be impeached by Congress. Impeachment scored as spokesperson Reginald Tonggol explains the grounds that may lead senator judges to inhibit from the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. In a radio interview on Tuesday, June 17, Tonggol says that senator judges can be removed from a trial through voluntary disqualification and mandatory inhibition. He says this is based on the rules of court. Tonggol mentions that voluntary disqualification is given to the discretion of the senator judges if they feel that they cannot render impartial justice. He says any party can move to say a senator judge should inhibit, but he notes the senator judge can either deny it or grant it. Meanwhile, the impeachment court spokesperson says that a senator judge may also be removed from participating in the proceeding through mandatory inhibition. He explains this can happen if a senator judge refuses to voluntarily inhibit themselves from the trial. He cites several cases where this is applicable, such as when the judge has personal knowledge of evidentiary facts concerning the proceeding, among others. Tonggol says that the parties will usually be the ones to highlight the basis for the mandatory inhibition against a senator judge. Different groups called on some senator judges to recuse themselves from the impeachment trial of Duterte, particularly those she endorsed in the 2025 midterm elections. In response, the Vice President said senator judges should not be asked to recuse solely due to their political biases. In separate interviews, Senate President Chis Escudero and House Prosecution Team member Representative Isabel Maria Zamora said that the inhibition should be voluntary. The Commission on Elections is resetting the voters' registration period amid the possible postponement of the 2025 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. In a message on Tuesday, June 17, Comelec Chairperson George Garcia says the new voter registration schedule will be from October 2025 to July 2026. The original schedule was supposed to be from July 1 to 11, 2025. The initial 10-day schedule for voter registration was set considering the barangay and SK elections on December 1 this year. Garcia explains that the country needs a longer period of voter registration. Garcia previously said the poll body is expecting 1 million new registrants. He says the decision to reset the voters' registration period is final. He says it wouldn't depend on whether or not this year's barangay and SK elections will be postponed. The Senate and House of Representatives recently ratified the proposed measure that will extend the terms of elected barangay and SK officials. The bill now awaits President Bongbong Marcos' signature. Should the measure be enacted, the regular barangay and SK elections will be postponed to the first Monday of November 2026 from the initial schedule of December 1, 2025. Under the measure, the term of office of all elected barangay and SK officials shall be extended to 4 years from the current 3 years. Barangay officials will serve a maximum of 3 terms in the same position, while SK officials can serve 1 term in the same position. Detained former Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves needs to undergo a major surgery after he was hospitalized for stomach pain. Teves was rushed to the hospital on Tuesday morning, June 17, after experiencing severe stomach pain. His lawyer, Ferdinand Topacio, says government doctors decided Teves will require major surgery in another hospital with additional equipment and facilities. According to Topacio, Teves is being transferred to a private hospital in Taguig City. Meanwhile, Topacio says all trial courts where Teves is pending cases were already informed of the expelled lawmaker's situation. When asked about the doctor's diagnosis of Teves' condition, Topacio says that he is not at liberty to disclose any related information. Teves is facing multiple counts of murder, frustrated murder, and attempted murder under the revised penal code. The charges are in connection with the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel de Gamo and several others, or what is known as the Pamplona Massacre in 2023. After going into hiding for 2 years, Teves was deported to the Philippines from Timor-Leste on May 29. Authorities say a dismissed police officer was arrested in Quezon City on sedition charges over his social media posts following the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. In a report released on Tuesday, June 17, the Quezon City Police District says it served the arrest warrant against Francis Steve Pontillas. The warrant was for the charge of inciting to sedition in relation to Section 6 of Republic Act 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act. Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 224 issued a warrant and set bail at 36,000 pesos. The case stems from the former cop's social media post threatening the International Criminal Court and International Criminal Police Organization should they lay a finger on Duterte. He said he will start a war, emphasizing his statement is not a warning but a threat. Former President Duterte was arrested in March and handed over to the ICC over crimes against humanity charges. The QCPD earlier filed a complaint against Fontillas before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office for violating Article 142 of the Revised Penal Code in relation to the Cybercrime Prevention Act. The QCPD previously said that Fontillas was assigned to the District Personnel and Holding Admin Section. However, he had been absent without official leave since March. The National Police Commission dismissed Fontillas from his post in May. They found the former cop guilty of grave misconduct, conduct unbecoming of a police officer, and disloyalty to the government. Meanwhile, Philippine National Police Chief General Nicolas Torre III says there is no need to issue a warning against any PNP personnel. He believes Fontillas is only an exception within the police. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.